If I had to start all over again in my 30s, this is what I would do to get my finances together. By the time I created this channel, I was starting over in life in my 30s. Now, thing is, when I was growing up at around 23 to 27, I had achieved most of the things that I desired. When you're growing up as a young girl, there are things that we desire. I want to be married by this age. I want to have children by this age. I want to have a house. So by the time I had already achieved all those things that I wanted. I had built a house for my mom, I had a car, I was married to the love of my life, and I had 2 kids. Like, everything seemed so well until at around the age of 29, where I lost almost everything, and by the age of 30 I had to start all over from scratch. These are the things that I did and I am still doing to get my finances together. Disclaimer, this is not financial advisory of any sort, but just sharing from my experiences and the things that have worked for me in hopes that you can pick a leaf. So I made a list because when you're behind the camera, somehow, I don't know what happens, but amnesia kicks in. So to avoid all that, I made a list and I'll just go about one by one to explain why it's important. The first thing that I actually did, I sat down and budgeted my life. You know, white people call it net worth. What do I have? How much am I worth, literally? And I was broke, like literally flat broke. So to get my financial situation in order, I had to get an income. Like, literally, the point was getting an income. For some people, it could be cutting off your expenses and increasing your income. But for me, it was getting a new job. That was the starting point. And somehow I had to move from my country, which is Uganda, to Dubai to start all over again. I was working as a financial advisor with an insurance company. Because it was a commission-based employment, I wanted something that was sustainable, where I could be guaranteed that every month I'm going to have this amount guaranteed. So that's what I did. When I moved to Dubai, I made sure that I cut off my expenses. I was used to a high lifestyle. When I moved to Dubai, I was alone and starting over. I had to look for a cheaper accommodation that was within my budget, not something that I would ideally go for before, you know, but because I knew what I wanted and because I was so focused on making my finances my priority, I had to cut off eating from outside, like making homemade meals. I think that is a huge topic on its own, but the key point for you to take away is to make sure that you cut off your expenses and increase your income. So in the part of increasing my income, I made sure that I had to get skills that would help me make some money, but at the same time keep my 9-to-5 job. Right now I'm working as a logistic executive, but at the same time I'm trying to find out freelance jobs that I can do alongside my 9-to-5. The second thing that I would really want to emphasize, I know the first point was so huge, like, yeah, but you know, it was just the first point. Increasing your income, cutting off your expenses. The next thing that you have to do is to pay your tithe. Now, some of you out there might say, I am so spiritual, but yes, finances are spiritual. Literally everything in our lives is spiritual. When you get an income, the first thing you have to do is to take off the 10th that doesn't belong to you, that belongs to the God who has given you this much. All he needs is the 10th of what you're earning. It's just a way of letting him know, Lord, I appreciate you. Let's say you're getting 5,000. Thank you for this 4,500. So when you're done with that, trust me, God is going to trust you for being faithful. Number 3 is creating an emergency fund. This is the money that is going to help you out in case of an emergency. Remember, you could be having debts like I did, or literally I still do, because by the time I moved here, I had debts. The reason as to why you're in those debts, it's because you didn't have a cushion to prepare you for those stormy days. Like you could be on the road driving and then you get a flat tire that couldn't be fixed and you need a new tire, which is really expensive. You have to call a friend, what's up, can you help me with a 500? And boom, that's a debt. As much as it might not have any interest, it's still a debt. And some people have businesses, borrow money which has interest in, because somebody has told them there is this deal, you have to engage in it, and boom, you have a debt. Probably it didn't even work out. So the reason as to why you need an emergency fund is to help you for all these things that are important for you, to have that money that you can run to and pick it up and get your issue solved without getting in any debt, without inconveniencing other people. And this money, you don't keep it in your account. I recommend that you put this money in an account with a high return on investment. Literally, I don't want to be complex. I just want to make sure that I make it as simple as possible. So this account could be a unit trust, or it could be a fixed bank account. But why we shouldn't go for a fixed bank account, it's because it has a given period of time where you cannot touch that money. But if it's like a unit trust, you can always tell them, you know what, I need my money. And sit down and see, okay, in a month this is how much I spend. So if I need worth of my 6 months expenses, how much would that be? Okay, but because we have debts, we need to just keep something a little bit, and then we come and take care of our debts, which takes me to number 4, to pay off your debts. It doesn't matter if it has interest or not. It doesn't matter if the debt is from your sister or your mother. You need to pay, because these people gave you their money because they care about you. And the only way that you can show that you care about them as well is by paying them back. So we are going to start paying off our debts, but at the same time putting in some money in emergency fund. If that is hard, because I found it hard, my income wouldn't let me do all that, so I would concentrate on one. So apparently I'm concentrated on paying off my debts, meaning every month I have to pay a portion of the debt that I am owed. And when you're done with paying off your debts, depending on how big it is, you start investing. If you didn't finish up your 6 months emergency fund, go back to the emergency fund, complete it. Make sure that you have a fully paid expenses of your entire 6 months. Just in case you lose this job, or just in case you get an emergency, it is worth 6 months of you not hustling and calling people for help, things like that. If you have that sorted already, now it is time for you to start investing. I don't know if I should make a video about the things that I have invested in or I look forward to investing in, but like I said, this is not financial advisory at all. These are things that I've done as a person, that I've learned along the way from the people that I feel like are doing well with their finances, and I thought I would share. So if you find this video interesting by far, I'd recommend you to subscribe to my channel because there is so much for the person out there who is just trying to build their lives from scratch in line with finances, relationships, faith, career. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what resonated with you in the comment section, and if you have any specific videos that you want me to talk about, I'd be glad to do that. I'll see you in the next video. By the way, I made so many other videos that could help you if you enjoyed this. Videos of how to discover your talent, how to trust God in the waiting season. Yeah. Bye. See you in the next video. Mwah.